are you?
I'm doing good. You look beautiful.
You do too.
Thank
You
you.
need to tell me your secrets.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we're able to get together today.
I know. I can't believe it.
You're so busy. I'm just so excited.
This time of year, in this time of year, I don't know why. I'm sorry. My dogs should stop barking any second. I'm not sure what's going on.
I can't
Um,
hear them. Welcome to the Coaching Collective Online. I'm so glad you're a part of the community.
Yay.
And I
Thank you.
know we will continue to grow. I really created this platform because I was transitioning out of my state job and wanting to continue to help people. And with what I was doing, I was gathering resources for people that needed help. And so I feel like this just was completely aligned with my health and life coaching business into finding wellness professionals for everybody. No matter what it could be, if it's like health or spiritual or mental wellness. I feel that a community having one place to find individuals from all over the world would be really wonderful to have. So that was the idea and the push behind it and the inspiration. And so I'm glad that you're a part of it because I believe in artwork and I believe how it inspires. And I wanted to have you share why, what led you into creating art.
I would love to. I would love to. And it's interesting, even since the last time when you were here, so many more things have come to me about like, why do I even create art? Like, why am I so obsessed with this? Why is this so important? And really, why do I feel compelled to share it? You know? So I do want to share more about that because I've gotten so much more clarity about all aspects of this for me. And it's interesting because, I started my career as a personal trainer, which was very rooted in personal growth and development. And then from there, I was life coaching. And then, it was more image consulting and personal styling and shopping. So it's always been like a transformational, almost like service
Mhm.
role for me, or service that I wanted to provide to others. So it's interesting because now as an artist, it's more like I'm providing a product essentially, but it's when I really thought deep about this, it's like, well, it's actually for the same reason.
Yeah.
I am trying to inspire people, to have confidence and to feel empowered. And I want people to feel transformed by the art. And, it's interesting because I was creating art for so many years, but only for myself. And I kept it to myself. And I realized that I was changed by the art. Like having this artwork on my walls was changing my life. It did fire me up. At times, it did calm me down. But every time I would pass a piece of art, and still to this day in my home, every time I pass a piece of art, I feel it. It's an experiential situation, that's happening. And it kind of, in a way, feeds me, like it's
Mhm.
giving to me. So it's interesting. And so that's a big reason why I feel so compelled to share this with people and as many people as I can, because I do feel like having artwork, in your presence, on your home, on your walls, it is a life-changing experience. And I know you know that because you do have beautiful
Yes, I have your piece
collection of
behind
even
me.
my own behind you. And I love your style. I love what you've chosen. I love how you've hung them. Um, it's, I know you invest in art, so you have identified the value in it as well.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I know when I am in this space and when I look at your art, it helps me to pause. And I think it's because just in meeting you and seeing lots of your artwork, which I love so many of your pieces. So um, I will be getting more pieces just because you inspire me. And I love your whole passion and your whole take on how you do art. I think it's so creative. It's such a creative outlet. So I feel that when I am around your pieces, that it just helps me pause, and it brings light into my heart. Like it just feels good and it's beautiful.
I'm so glad because that is so much of the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
And I can attest to having that same experience. You know, it forces me to pause as well because it's like even just for a split moment, because it's like, you know, I'm feeling something from it.
Mhm.
But it is very interesting. It's just it's an interesting thing. And you know, I know you know, you've heard about how I create art, and I
Mhm.
collect and curate reclaimed materials and found objects.
Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting that started exclusively as an environmental stance. I thought, you know, how can I do this, lowering my carbon footprint, you know, contributing to the circular economy, and it still is, you know, the environmental piece is still important for me, but you know, it's harder. It's
Mhm.
harder to, you know, it's my time and it's sorting through things and what's, you know, going to work and what's not. It's much harder to collect found objects to create the art versus going out and buying a fresh can of paint, going out and buying a blank canvas, or, you know, having a blank panel of wood cut.
Yeah.
So it doesn't exactly make my life easier. And so most recently, I was really trying to figure out like, why am I so obsessed with doing this? Because it's just it's more work, and it's really about that that connection, that mirror to transformation, and that power of self renewal with self belief. Because I'm taking these items that were truly destined for trash, for landfill, like they're
Mhm.
no longer valued, and it's like, how can I resurrect some value here so that it is something that's desirable
Mhm.
for someone else, and it's destined for, you know, someone's home. So it really is, you know, this work in reclaiming these found items, it for me it's so powerfully mirrors alchemy and reinvention, because the whole process is the act of reinventing
Mhm.
these items that were nothing, you
I love
know.
that. I love how people seek you out too to refurbish some of their items.
It's been
Look for you
interesting.
to do that.
Yeah, it's been interesting and really cool. Like my chef series, this
Yes.
one here, I
Hmm.
know it's very small, but that is one of my smallest from the chef series. But this chef is local, he's a local celebrity. Another place we have to go together when you're here next,
Yes.
because it's very close by. So you know, he's had a very storied and very successful and very lengthy career, and so he has this closet full of chef coats from over the years that, you know, he doesn't need them. And I was so thrilled, instead of just throwing them out, which he easily could have done just to make his life easier,
Hmm.
he did reach out about, you know, could I possibly reimagine these into one of my sculptural pieces? And I thought, yes, of course, you know. So it's become a whole series of work, and I still will continue adding to that series. It's interesting though, because I didn't realize the amount of labor that was involved with deconstructing those chef coats. They are so well made. The the seams are so tight. They're so like tightly sealed. They're very well made,
Wow.
very well constructed. So pulling them apart in and of itself is a little more labor intensive than I realized it would be. But you know, it's so interesting. There's so much that comes out of those coats. There's so much resources like contained in that coat. Even the pocket, it's all like double lined. The
Yeah.
whole coat is lined. The like, you know, this the whole button panel, it's lined. There's so much fabric. I mean, and this was born out of one tiny piece that might have been part of the lining, but it was like, how can I reimagine this into something that is of value? Like what could this be? And you know, sometimes I'll get a piece of wood or something and it's like, I'll ask myself the question, what else can this be?
Hmm.
What else could it be? So I've made some really interesting things. And you've seen, my home, some of my work is very minimal
Hmm.
and very neutral. The palette is minimal. It's very soothing and soft. Like this one here is a newer one. I'm not sure how well you can see this gray one. So that's darker. I do a lot of lighter colors, a lot of whites, but but then I also have some really bold pieces, and my sculptural pieces. Some of those are really unusual and very avant-garde. And so there's a very broad range of aesthetics.
I love it. I love how you have something for everybody, honestly, and for every
Yeah.
emotion. I've seen some of your newer pieces too, and it has a lot of energy behind that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's some more I did this week. I got to show you. They're really fun. Really fun. More of the graffiti art style. I did a whole series for someone that we can talk about, and we're just talking about. But I did a whole series, and they really are fun.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that is I guess a series I started out of just my desire to share something positive and uplifting and fun and playful. And for me, it also felt fun and playful, that act of creating them.
Hmm.
And I've had a couple gallery owners, and I had an advisor tell me to stop doing those because they said for my career, they weren't good for my career. They were going to hurt my career if I wanted to grow as an artist, because it's just something that's not unique. It's already been done and it's being done. And that's true. It's totally valid, but it's interesting because those sell, and they sell because they are someone's benefiting from them, you
Hmm.
know? And so it's interesting. And of course, I want to create more of the things that sell because that's my barometer that someone else is finding value in them. And that's so much of the purpose of deciding to take this from for me to, for we, to take it to a professional, you know, to a
Yeah.
business, because this is meant for someone else to find value in them, and it's meant to enhance, someone else's life. And also, I really hope the art helps other people value themselves more.
Hmm. Yeah. I know you're involved in a lot of community events and fundraisers, like you mentioned earlier, which I think just speaks to your personality too about how well connected you are with people, emotions in the community. What is the last fundraiser that you are participating in?
Well, oh my gosh, my gosh, I just was part of one for the Humane Society, the Arizona Humane Society, which was really a big deal for me because my husband and I were both really big advocates for rescues. We have two rescue dogs, and we've only had rescue dogs, and
Yeah.
there's just such a need, there's so many that need homes. So that was really a big deal for me to be able to contribute. I did a custom piece for this event, and I was so thrilled. They sold for a good amount, and it actually went to one of my collectors who already had a bunch of my pieces, so it was really funny. But we'll expand upon that because a local magazine that I love, actually came and did a photo shoot at my home to help promote the event, and kind of expose my participation in the event. So that magazine will be coming out soon. So I'll share that, and we can share that to give context. But the next event that I'm a part of is this organization, Baller Dream, that my husband and I are also super passionate about. And they're grassroots. They were started right here in Arizona. Now they are all over the US, but they essentially provide resources and support for kids with cancer, young adults with cancer, and their families, because financially it's such a drain It's scary. Sometimes there's just not insurance coverage, or even with insurance, parents have to take time off of work, paying for gas to get to all these doctor's appointments. And so, that's something that we're passionate about supporting, because we know the founder and we know the people involved. And so we know the money is going to the kids, it's going to their families. And we've met a number of these kids. We've had them in our home. They've come to my art shows. So it's really cool. So that's the next event in like a week and a half, that I'll have some artwork that's part of the auction. But it's interesting because my brother, I was in college, but my brother was diagnosed with bone cancer. He had just turned 15. And so, he was very lucky. He had surgery. He was like unreasonably lucky considering the tumors and everything. So I can relate to the strain on the family unit, and how important this work is. So I'm super thrilled to be a part of that, and that's something we can share with your network as well, in case anyone
Yeah.
wants to take a look and see if there's a way they can help out, or even if there's someone in your network that might um, need resources. They might maybe, God forbid, find themselves in a situation with a child that has been diagnosed. At least
Right.
your community will know that this
Mhm.
is an organization they possibly could tap into.
It exists, right? I mean, people don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So, yeah, I believe in sharing as much information and resources for people to at least be aware and know that it's accessible for themselves or somebody else. So, yeah, that would be wonderful. I look forward to that. That would be
Yeah, you do such a great job in your newsletters. I really look forward to those. You share a lot of resources, a lot from your network, and it's almost like a mini magazine,
Yeah.
going through, because there's
Funny
so
you
many.
say that. It's funny you say that, but just
Well,
because I
is
was
that
talking.
next? Is the magazine coming next?
Right, that's a great idea. There's so many things in the works, and with the tech company that is assisting me, I just love them so much, and I'm so grateful for all of their assistance. But in having discussions with them, sometimes in just talking to somebody, it helps you realize what you already have there, but you didn't like. It took those new conversations, right, to have that light bulb moment. But in talking with a specific individual, I said, my goodness, I put so much into these newsletters, but nobody knows because I take so long in working on them. And then
It's a
I
lot of
will
work.
finally email it to the people that have subscribed, but I have so much information there. So what we're going to do very soon is start piecing out all the information from all the newsletters and start making those hard posts and stories so people can see. It shouldn't be accessible through one channel. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the coaching collective, is to have all these resources easily accessible, and however, whatever way you can find it and get to it, right? So that will be coming soon too. And the magazine, yeah, just with you saying that, I was telling the person, I said, oh my gosh, there's so much information in here, but I'm not making it easily accessible to everybody. So it was like ding, 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 that we're gonna have, yeah. So
Wow.
lots of stuff in the works to help everybody know of all these resources out there for them. But I love that compliment. Thank you so much, because I do put a lot of heart and time into those.
You
Thank
can
you.
tell. Yeah, you can tell.
Thank you. Well, what is next for you in what brings you inspiration, or what grounds you in your work or personally or both?
It's really interesting. I'm starting to explore larger works. So I've been doing a lot of like full wall canvases, where I'll take an unstretched canvas and I'll tack it up on the wall in my studio. And so it's huge. It's a huge piece. And it's just a whole different adventure when you're working on something so large, so much area to cover. And that's, I'm working with more and more designers, and some of them are working on really elaborate homes that are really large and have large walls to fill. And so I'm working on creating more of these pieces
Mhm.
that are large scale. because there is a need, which is very cool because it's a huge challenge. Also working on commissions, which is again a huge challenge because I am creating something that fulfills someone else's vision beyond my own. So that's challenging because most of my work, it just comes from inspiration. I don't even know where it comes from. It just comes from inside of me. I don't have to think. But when someone else is asking me to do something, then I have to think because now it's like, okay,
Yeah.
step one, two, three to, achieve the desired result. So that's interesting. But, as an artist, it is a great way for me to stretch my creative boundaries and just to grow my practice.
Hmm.
So that's exciting. It's really just building my clientele, expanding my clientele, building those relationships. I have a lot of I guess repeat collectors, people who are coming back again and again. I have a new home, so we have some more walls. We need some more pieces. What can you do for us? And so that's fun because every, I guess, professional role I've been in has required relationship building, like the personal training and personal shopping and all these different roles. And so I enjoy that part of it, because that part is social. Because
Hmm.
otherwise, in my studio alone, which I don't mind, but I'm alone, or if I'm not in my studio working, I'm probably on my computer, answering emails, but I'm alone.
Hmm.
So actually working with my clients one on one, that part kind of keeps me going because it feeds more of my social needs.
Hmm. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah. So it's
your
interesting.
art is going to be, I mean, something masterful. And I look forward to seeing all those pieces.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I have a lot to show, a lot of a lot of new pieces to show.
When
So
I'm
I
there,
have to work
you'll have
on
to show me.
I have to work on getting them in the phone so I can get them on the computer screen. Oh my gosh, that part is not so fun.
You do a great job at it, though. All your videos and your content and all your interviews you've done with, other companies, other people. It's a joy to watch. I always like what you
Thank
have
you.
content.
Thank you so much for saying that. It is a huge blessing, and for you to ask me, to get on here and interview, and it's just a huge blessing to be able to share on a larger platform. And even just in being asked questions, I always seem to learn something else about myself because it's almost like I'm practicing, uh, I'm digging deeper. What does this mean? What is that? What am I doing? It's really important to talk about the meaning and the mission behind the work.
Yeah, I love it. I know you've inspired me and sometimes asked me questions, and I thought, why didn't I do that? Like, why haven't I thought of that? Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Yeah. Well,
It's funny.
is there anything else that you would want people to know about you? Any fun facts or any hobbies, obsessions, if you even have time for any hobbies?
Well, I love shopping. I know that probably sounds so superficial, but I mean, let me see, probably like 2015, I started, very accidentally started learning about sustainable fashion. I
Mhm.
watched this documentary called The True Cost. I'm not sure
Uh-huh.
if you've seen it. It's extraordinary, but kind of heartbreaking because it pulls back the curtain on the how wasteful essentially the fashion industry is.
Yeah.
And it just changed my life because I love fashion so much. I love my material things. I love beauty, but I was kind of a shopaholic. So
Yeah.
it kind of pushed me to start shopping secondhand. So I buy a lot of vintage clothing. I shop consignment almost exclusively. Um, but most of my clothing is secondhand. Like this is a vintage top, and
It's gorgeous.
it's I'll show you
Nice
off
one.
camera. I'll show you the label. It's probably from 1950 or 60. It is like an ancient relic. I hope it doesn't fall apart on me. Um, but I find the most unique things. So that's a fun fact. I shop almost 100% secondhand. And
I love seeing your when you post your vintage attire. I know when I first asked you that, I don't know, it was last year. I was like, where did you get that? And everything's always vintage, just about 99% of everything. And I just think, wow, you are just so classy in your style, just the way you creatively put things together. That is just, I mean, it's amazing. You always look fabulous.
well, it's fun. And it's a little bit of my medicine. It is like therapeutic. And so another one little fun fact I'll share from the past is um as much as I always love fashion, we had one of our moves, we've moved many times for my husband's job, and one of our moves, we were like stuck in this studio apartment. We could not find a home. And I really started to get really down. It became a very rough patch for me. And I was working from home. So I was like always in this studio apartment that really sucked. And so I, one day, I don't even know why, I started getting dressed because, working from home, you don't really have to get dressed. And so
Right.
I just started getting dressed up.
Hmm.
And I realized how good it felt. And I was like, what's up today? Today feels different. And I realized that just the act of getting dressed, valuing myself, putting on something that I loved, how I felt and how I actually looked,
Yeah.
it just it elevated everything, my state of being, my sense of being, and my mood and my confidence. And so from then on, it's like I'm getting dressed every day, no matter what. And that's part of why I post my fashion on Instagram, because I'm kind of like holding myself accountable that
Mhm.
I got dressed. I didn't even have to leave my house today. I was entirely working from home, but I got dressed because it's almost like for my mental health, you
Mhm.
know, because when you get dressed, it's like for me it's like game on. The day has begun. We're in it. Let's, we're rolling. And sometimes if you don't get dressed, if you stay in those comfy clothes,
The
it's
font,
just,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's easy to just like get sleepy,
Yeah.
you know?
I know what you're saying. I completely relate. It depends. Yeah, whatever I put on will alter my mood and my energy level. Like it's inspiring. Involves being creative, right? You're thinking about what you're going to wear, the colors,
Totally.
who you're going to be around. Or sometimes then it encourages me then to make more plans to go social,
Same.
go to an event. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're ready. You're ready for anything. Even putting makeup on, like I will put makeup on even if I don't have to, because it's almost like it wakes me up. It just, so that's a little more of for me, it's a tool. It's a little more of that outside in approach. I also very much believe in, empowering myself mindset and inside out, but that's a little more of that outside in approach. It acts as a bridge, if you're struggling to get to that, you know, to get going and to feel like you're on and you're ready.
I agree. I agree. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And you can mention anything you'd like to.
I feel like we talked about so much. I feel like I said a lot. I think something that I want to share that I think is so important is I really want to encourage people to have art in their homes. I know it is a luxury and it is an expense, but I think it's an expense worth investing in. And even if you do not have the means to invest in that
Mhm.
artwork right now, make your own. I mean, because that's where I started. As a very young adult, newly married, I just started making my own art. And it just empowered me on such a deep level. And so if someone thinks that they cannot afford art,
Mhm.
please make it, do something and put it up in your home so you can see it, because it is life changing. Having art in your home, in your space, in your office, it is a life changing, it's a life changing experience that it will bring you joy and enrichment, every single day of your life. So I encourage people,
I think
yes,
it's an investment in not only, first of all, it's investment in yourself because it brings
yes,
so much creativity and emotion and sparks imagination. And I feel like that is just so wholesome, but it's also an investment in your home and the people around you. It brings you joy. Everybody loves your pieces and they can see
Thank you.
part of your inspiration through all of your artwork.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you recognizing that because, you know, that's the point for other people to receive it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Laura.
Thank
Busy
you.
Friday, don't you? No.
Today's a busy one. It is, and it's Halloween. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Happy
Happy
Halloween.
Halloween. I should be dressed for Halloween. Oh my
I'm not
gosh.
either, so
I'm so
maybe I'm a
embarrassed.
leaf.
What? Oh my gosh. Well, we can pretend this is my
Okay,
costume.
you're an ornament, a Christmas ornament.
An old, an antique Christmas ornament. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Happy Halloween. I know it's strange because we don't have kids, so we're not so much in like putting together the costumes and stuff. We do have a thing to go to, but my husband's not big on dressing up in costumes, so we'll see how that goes. But we don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
It's
we don't
interesting.
either. There's a hill to walk up, so that's much too,
Oh
it
yeah,
takes too
they're
much
not doing
time and
it.
you gotta go house to house, get that candy.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, we're a little spread out here, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, are you dressing up? Do you have a party to go to, or
Not yet. I mean, maybe, who knows? But
the night is young.
the night is young, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Until next time,
I
I'll
know.
stay
Thank
in
you
touch.
so much. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
thank you,
Laura.
thank you.
Okay.
And I will say I have a new website, lauramaddenstudio.com. If anyone wants to check it out, it is a very curated selection of my work, but it is a new website. I'm proud of it, and it's a work in progress. It's building.
That's great. Look forward to looking at that.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.